I pledge allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like Jeff Allen, Sue Campbell, and Phyllis Frankel to please raise their right hand and read their oath.
I, Joe Frankel, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge the duties as a member of the Board of Education according to the best of my ability.
I would like a motion for nominations for school board president.
I nominate Sheila Brown.
I need a motion first.
Oh.
Who's gonna second?
Second.
Okay, and any nomination?
And for Sheila Brown.
Any other nomination? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, and then I need a motion for vice president. I need the first. Who's gonna second? And then the. Okay. Any other nominations? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carried. And then I need Sheila and Cindy to please raise their hand. And you can raise your own. Oh, and I'm sorry, and the superintendent as well.
Yep.
Sorry, Chris.
I, Christopher Brown, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as superintendent of the Gorham Central School District according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the reorg agenda. That would be G through H1M. We are removing H1A, number 2J, if you can follow that. If somebody doesn't have a petty cash amount, we have the Whitman Resource Center does not, so we're just removing that. All right, are there any questions on all of that? Any questions, anybody? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. All right, I'm going to call the regular scheduled meeting to order. And we do not need an executive session. I am calling for public access to the board. If anybody would like to speak.
Like for me to vote everybody and to applaud you all for everything that we've done with food distribution and graduation. Kudos to everybody. You know that.
Thank you on behalf of Mabel. Anybody else? All right. That moves us to the approval of the agenda with a correction on H12. There's just one in that one clause. It says Jeremy instead of Jeremiah. So obviously the correction is going to say Jeremiah. I need a motion to approve that. All right. Are there any questions on that? If not, all in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Brings us to the
So you're on the
D, approval of agenda for the regular meeting. It's page 8.
Okay, so I have a question on each one I, and
we do the consent agenda, when we get to H, the consent agenda. I'm on page 8 of our agenda where it says D, approval of the agenda. So we just approve the agenda. So bring that back up on H. Brings us to E, acceptance of minutes. We have the minutes from the June 8th and the June 16th. That was the vote. Anybody have any questions on that? If not, those will stand as submitted. That brings us to the acceptance of the treasurer's report. Anybody have any questions on that? Not, that will stand as submitted. Brings us to our administrator's reports, and I believe Dr. Brown has some
Sure. Yeah.
info for us.
Good evening, everybody. And I just have a few things tonight, just along with what Mabel has said, but a little more detail. I thought graduation was wonderful. I can't thank our buildings and grounds, technology, and high school administration enough, and their advisors for just putting on just a fantastic ceremony. We thought we were going to lose the video of it, and luckily it was saved, and so that it's been viewed. Brenda, how many times? 252 times, so that's good. And Denny Green, who helped to kind of manufacture the stage, he built it so he could disassemble it, and then we stored it, and so we will be able to have the option of outdoor graduations in the future. I'm hoping in a non-COVID environment where we can have more than 2 family members per graduate, but it was pretty special, I will say that. And along those lines, and with what Mabel has said as well, the food distribution, I think, has gone very well, but it can't go well without the help of our volunteers. We've had a lot of people coming, the different distributions that we've had. The last Thursday, we helped out almost 1,000 individuals with Food Link food, and that's pretty significant. And we have another Food Link this Thursday, and then we have 2 dates in August as well. So at the same time, Mondays and Thursdays, we're doing the breakfast lunch pickup. That's going well so far, and we're getting the same number of people picking up breakfast and lunch this summer that picked up breakfast and lunch during the spring. I didn't know how that was going to work out, but we're getting the same number of people who need that food from us. So that's been good as well. And I want to thank our food service staff for making that happen. Capital project is cranking along, despite the fact that private sector projects are allowed to continue right now. We're still getting 30, 40 people per day on our job site, and that's pretty significant for a school project. So things are coming along really well. If the auditorium is a complete tear out, and the gym, they're already in kind of reconstruction phase, and they're already taking a look at some of the pieces that they have to have in place to put the second story on. So that's pretty remarkable. And as I continue to mention, no matter how quickly they get done, there are still a couple of lead items that are out there. The bleachers will probably be a September thing, and then in the auditorium, right now it looks like the lights and or the seats are going to be a September-ish thing. But the fact that they're getting a lot of the groundwork done is amazing for us, and we're going to probably need that. My next topic would be school opening guidance. And I just added it quick because we just got over 100 pages worth of school reopening stuff today. And as I said to some people, reopening is not going to be insurmountable, but it's going to take people really thinking outside the box and working together. And that includes community members and parents. We're all going to have to play a role in getting students back to school. Our priority 1 is going to be safety, number 1. Number 2 is going to be to make sure that we've got the transportation. One of the pieces that I thought was interesting in the guidance document, all the guidance documents, was for transportation. They're going to want us to encourage either student driving or us to encourage parents driving their students to school to make room for the students who truly need to use transportation, because we're going to have to socially distance on the school buses. Food service is going to be a big deal for us because we are supposed to cohort students in so much as possible, especially at the elementary. So that's going to mean students not leaving their classroom. So if you're a second grader staying in your classroom almost the whole day, having your food brought to you, that's going to be a lift for our food service department. Middle school, high school, you can use the cafeterias as long as you maintain social distancing. And as I said to both Jen Taft and Clay, they're gonna really have to work together because we're gonna be sharing space like crazy in the middle school, high school, in order to accommodate what we have to do. My personal goal, schedule-wise, would be to create a scenario where all students are able to be here 5 days a week. That's going to be the number one goal. Once we apply the guidance to it, we'll see where we're at. But we're going to start with bringing everybody back 5 days a week and see where we end up. There's a caveat clause in there that I read. We're allowed to apply for a waiver to make full-day UPK go back to half-day UPK. Don't think I want to exercise that. We have 34 UPK students registered right now. So that might, as it is, that might necessitate a reduction in workforce in a position or two in UPK. And our kindergarten numbers are at 54, which is low as well. So that may necessitate a reduction in workforce there. So we don't quite know yet, but I think with that being kind of known, we would proceed with the full day experience for the students and retain the staff. Our last hires have been phenomenal, and we want to do everything we can to keep them. So, other than that, so what'll happen tomorrow afternoon? The cabinet's going to meet briefly, kind of go over everything that we're all reading tonight. Thursday, I've got a big meeting with what's called the Regional Instructional Council, as well as the chief school officers. We're going to meet for a few hours Thursday morning to kind of decompress, start to put things together, because anybody in elementary world around the county can probably do their own thing. But when it comes to middle school, high school, and you have BOCES schedules to deal with, AM, PM, and workforce job site work and all of that, we're going to have more of a regional approach probably to upper middle school and all of high school. So that's going to require us to really be working together with our neighbors from around the county on that, and BOCES for that matter. So after Thursday's meeting, I gave them the weekend off. So we'll kind of take the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all day, 8 hours a day. We're going to be working on putting the actual plan together. Once that's in draft form, we'll be bringing in some of the association membership to take a look at it. We're also going to be involving some of our teachers who are working in the ESY program, because they already are working live with kids right now, and we want to get their opinion on how things are going and how their experience relates to our planning and all of that. So, and then I'll keep you and the community informed, every step of the way, and just to make sure that nobody's left out. We've got about 500 responses right now to the survey that we put out about school reopening. That's fantastic. And that's just the community side. And we have almost 200 responses from our own employees on the employee survey, which is also really good. So we're going to have good data to work with. We have good stakeholder support to work with, and that's been real positive. And last thing I want to do is just thank Shireen. She put together, I think, a fantastic process for our school budget vote. I couldn't have asked for it to go any smoother than it did. We were all, I think anybody who works in the school was nervous about how that vote process was going to go. And it went very smoothly. And fortunately, we had a positive outcome. So I thank the taxpayers and our community for that. But Shireen, thank you very, very much. That was pretty awesome. So that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Does anybody have those a lot?
Sorry. Yeah.
Enrollment numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah. Those aligned with census data that you have?
No, they're aligned with COVID data. Yeah, it's pure COVID. We're all talking. So we're all talking about that around the county, and because UPK and K are not mandated grade levels, so around the county, a lot of parents are saying they're not sending their child to those two, the UPK or K, and so we're all kind of talking about, what does that look like? And just in my experience, I think I've made the mistake in the past of keeping the class sizes super small, like 9 or 10, expecting more students to come, and then they don't. And then parents get super used to that. And it's really hard to take that away when somebody's already got it, So sometimes the better thing to do is to make the class sizes, in this case, they'd be, 15, 16, and then tell them that if we get to Columbus Day or Christmas or whenever people feel more comfortable bringing their children back, we may have to make an ad then. But I think that's going to be the better road for us to take, because I could say it a million times that people shouldn't get used to having 9 or 10 in a class. You can say it, but then once you do it, it's hard to pull it away, just in my experiences. So around the county, we're all dealing with that. And you know, it'll be interesting too, you know, after watching ESY, our extended school year now for a little bit over a week. The staff have done amazing. We have the A team down there. The cleaning's going very, very well. The protocols all work. I think what we're finding anyway, and what I said to the administrators today, it's going to take them probably a good 2 or 3 weeks to get some of that regimentation back in the students. I mean, if you look at the extended school year, you know, they haven't had a lot of structure since March, and we brought them back, and we had some situations that we normally wouldn't have to deal with in terms of behavior. I would think that that's going to happen on a larger scale when all the students start coming back, because they're going to get back into a routine, and that just takes time with kids. So we're gonna look at keeping class sizes as manageable as we can, A, from that perspective, but B, also from a social distancing perspective. You know, the regulations, again, after 100 pages, the regulations state it's about 36 square feet per student. So, you know, if you do some quick math, a typical classroom is 770 square feet. That's 21.2 students if you have no furniture. So you're talking 14 or 15 students in a room max with furniture, you know. And we'll just have to see what we can come up with. And that's the reason for that.
You know, early, but how do you see it like? So, you're saying, I think my daughter's involved in it. My mind.
Yeah, I would say I'm concerned about athletics. I'm concerned about any extracurricular activity, and I'm concerned about field trips. If you ask me to give you an answer today about those, I would say that none of those 3 things operate this school year. I think eco, in my opinion, and Malcolm and I are going to be talking, and Samantha are going to be talking about that. They wanted to talk to me. I think we can create an eco experience that is probably a little bit more robust than what the kids got this past spring out of eco, but it's going to still look different. And I just worry, because when you read the guidance, it's all about keeping students siloed here and keeping track of them here. I can't see where we would field ban them. Plus, any kind of fine art that we're going to offer and phys ed, students have to have 144 square feet of space per student. So, you know, that's 12 feet. And you know, I don't know how you have ensembles and things like that when you've got to have that much distance in between people. And so I don't know if that'll change throughout the school year, but we've got to be looking at how do you start the school year. Like, I don't want to lay off a music teacher, or, you know, I want to find ways for them to be included and for them to be able to deliver instruction, but understanding that what we're used to, the concerts, in fact, the guidance document specifically says, basically get ready for virtual concerts, you know. So we'll see, but that's how I see it today after reading everything. Yep.
Chris,
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody doing their own thing. Some doing maybe some online or whatever. Their own teams and staff. Maybe not be able to.
Yeah.
If they have to be their own children, if they're in a different district.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
That's a good point.
I think that's going to make it tough. We're here.
Yeah.
Using my own self as an example. My wife and I are both teachers. We don't work here, but our kids come.
Yep.
You know, so Margaret Whitman is going to go online. But we're not.
Yep.
I have no place for my kids.
Yep.
I think it's all here.
Yep. Yeah, I'll bring that up to the group this week.
And I get it.
It's a good point.
But I know, maybe that's one thing that isn't possible. A lot of things that we just
Yeah.
we don't know.
I think there's some pieces that I read that are going to be challenging based on the community. I think one of the big ones is students who don't want to come to school. You have to provide a vehicle to educate them. So that might be, so you're going to have to provide a virtual environment for them, whether you wanted to or not. And also, if you have staff who won't come to work, you've got to provide opportunities for them to still try to do their jobs in a different way. that'll reach a roadblock in 2 seconds, you know, but that's in the guiding document. And I think once that gets pushed, then we'll see, you know, in thinking about it, and you think about bus drivers as well, you know, bus drivers are a very vulnerable population because they're some of your oldest employees because it's a second or third job for them. And, you know, they don't want to be exposed per se to any kind of, you know, infection. So, or virus. So in Monroe County, they've already got some problems trying to staff busing for the fall based on what drivers are already telling them. You know, knock on wood, we're doing pretty well here with our drivers, but I think it's all going to be, I don't think there's going to be enough substitutes at times. And I also think too, that we're probably going to get to October, November, and it's not going to surprise me if we have to close up for a little while and then come back when the flu season and if there's another recurrence of COVID. So it just to kind of give you an idea in looking at our survey results only. And again, I wouldn't call it, our survey is not scientific, but I would tell you that we've got some tallies of things. We have 25 people responded that they will not send their kids to school in the fall or the school year, no matter what. And I physically have 8 new homeschool applications for the fall. So, you know, I have to look at that from a staffing perspective too, right? So.
The family, the parents think about determination. What about the process? But they look at the process.
That's kind of the gray area right now. And if we can't provide them with a way to do their work from home, I think what it's going to, my sense is 2 things. I think there's going to be some legislation passed that's going to hold school districts harmless from liability if they have a plan in place that's been approved. So you have a plan in place that's been approved, someone gets COVID, they're going to be exempt from liability. And what I think that's going to do then is it's going to trigger the next thing, just my opinion. I think what it's going to trigger is it's going to say, okay, if you're any employee, doesn't matter who you are, it could be me. They're going to probably make us take an unpaid leave. And so then you're going to sit at your kitchen table and decide, okay, am I really going to stay out and not get paid? Or am I going to work even though I don't want to because I got to get a paycheck? I don't like that, but I think that's what's going to happen because you can't, I don't know, there's a certain amount of money in the pie in the state and the country. And this is going to happen all over the country. So we're going to run out of substitute teachers. You know, I can see the potential there for it to, especially downstate, for things to really build and be kind of negative. But so what we want to try to do, I think, is follow all the protocols that were given, all the guidance that were given, and then some. You know, go above and beyond where we can, and see if we can get this thing off the ground the way it needs to be, and then, you know, continue to do it well and hope for the best. You know. Yep.
So part of that, Chris, after they do the plan, is there going to be something, so say a bus driver does that bus.
Mhm.
So then how far does that reach? Quarantine everyone on the bus, everybody down in transportation. Is there going to be some plan?
Yep. So the guidance document, and again, just breathing it in today, right? So the guidance document says that we also have to have a plan for contact tracing, which is why we're looking at some software for our buses, so that we'll be able to tell exactly when a child got on the bus and exactly when they get off the bus by either a badge or something that they'll wear, or the driver can kind of scan them in on the bus. So if a bus driver were to contract COVID, we can stop time. We have to call the health department. They'll give us some direction. But what the guidance document says is that the direction is going to be, we'll contact trace back, and everybody that's on that bus. The Department of Health will help us to determine how long that that quarantine time will be for the occupants of the bus, and then also for the time anybody else has been in contact with that driver. So if it's dispatch, or if it's whoever else has been in contact with the driver or a mechanic, the Department of Health will work with us to make those decisions on that. And I think it's also important to remember, if someone tests positive for COVID, this school closes immediately for a minimum of 48 hours while it's cleaned, and it has to be recertified by the Department of Health. So that's something else that's out there too. I don't know if you didn't see my Twitter today. I got a lot of questions today. What is the infection rate right now in our Gates and Ontario County. Ontario County is less, it's less than 1.5% right now, and Yates County is less than 0.5%. And what the governor had said is if it's 5% or on a 7-day rolling average, that's when we're going to have, if it's 5% or below, we can open schools. So right now we have the, knock on wood, the green light to do something. And if it's 9% over a 14-day average, it's when you have to close. So that starts August 1st. And we'll keep tabs of that. I think not to keep going on about this, but it's going to be important for us. It's different. We are going to be required to take temperatures of everybody every day. That's going to be a mountain to climb. In the guidance document, though, it says that temperature can be taken at home. So what we have to do is try to figure out some vehicles to be able to get as many parents as possible to submit something every morning that we can collect and look at digitally or whatever that says, that their child is safe and okay for school. I think that, John, I think that's where that liability waiver is going to come from, probably. And so hopefully if we can get the community and the parents and the caregivers to support us in that, every day won't take 30 minutes for a kid to get into school and get going with their day. We're going to have to tape hallways. We're going to have to put 6-foot markers. We're going to have to do all the things that you see at Walmart or Wegmans or any place else we're going to be doing here. Somebody asked the question about plexiglass on school buses. The answer is probably no to that. The Department of Transportation is frowning on that because they say it's going to impede vision and that kind of thing and impede safety of getting other kids off the bus in an emergency. We don't have to have it. And then also a couple of parents have asked me if we're going to have plexiglass around each student desk or table. And the answer is no to that as well. And I think you have to be careful. Many of you have been around in education for a while through all the unfortunate school shootings, and you know what happens after every school shooting. Specifically Parkland, you have people who want metal detectors and plexiglass and bulletproof glass and everything else, and then you have people that think that they want nothing. And I think our jobs as administrators and as a board of education is to find that middle ground that doesn't impede our employees or students from doing what they're supposed to come here to do, but also keeps them safe. And so our job is to find that right road, and we will. So.
Good questions. There's a lot to take in. Is there any other questions?
There'll be a lot. Oh, there'll be a lot more. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm sure that. That brings us to H, the consent agenda. I'm going to word this carefully because we do have, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. We do have an insertion. I think it's to your right of your computers with H1G. We're just inserting a teacher's aide position in there. Yeah. So that's going to be on the consent agenda. I'd like to pull H4 and vote on that separately, please. Would anybody like to pull H20? Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. All right, so we're going to pull H4 and H21. Would anybody like to pull anything else? Yes, sorry. Well, actually, I'm supposed to say, did I have a motion?
Yeah.
And did I have a second? All those in favor? Opposed? We have now we have a question. Yes? All right, what's going on?
My question is, we got Jennifer Horning from Nurses here, and they're helping with the transition in library and virtual learning. So is this going to be like, are they going to be employed all year long to do this, or is there a time limit on it?
So it's a good question. Both of them are retired, right? So they're going to be paid out of a grant as independent contractors to help us with this transition period. I don't know the exact time it's going to end, but it won't be the entire year. It's going to be one of the, also in the guidance document is there's a push also for professional development for integrating technology with teaching. And so Jenny and Kelly are going to help with that as well. So I couldn't give you a start and stop date. We have a budget out of the grant allocated for them. And when that money is gone, we'll probably be done. Zoe, did you have we don't have an exact timeline for that, right? Oh, that's right. Sorry.
So I know at one time we were putting a 3-month period on there, but I told Dirk I need to lock it. We're gonna put it in here, so it's cancel date, but I need to lock us and then next.
Right.
So I think this can be posted on where we are with that. I just wondered. No, I wanted the time frame too, but then I didn't know how it's gonna look, where we're gonna start school, what's in September, what's gonna go, you know, where we're doing more in October, November.
Are there any other questions on consent agenda? If not, now I'm going to vote on the consent agenda minus H4 and H20. All those in favor? Opposed? Those are carried. We'll vote on H4 first, and then we'll vote on H21. Okay. Okay, we'll do it. Okay,
Should
H,
both be executive?
yeah, what's that?
Should both be executive?
I don't need to discuss, I just want to vote separately on H4. So, I'm okay to vote on it. I just want to vote separately. So, I need a motion on H4. All those in favor? Or are there any questions? All those in favor? I'm opposed. That motion is carried. So Sue, we will have an executive session then to discuss H21. Okay. Table that to there. What's that? All right, that brings us to our second public comment. Does anybody have any comments? Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah. So just quick public comment, Lauren's here, but we had several people, and you saw on the agenda, who were up for tenure tonight. And it's just, it's like the seniors having to wait and not have their senior season and everything else. These poor teachers who work so hard and do such great work didn't get a chance to get recognized the way that we normally recognize them for achieving tenure. So congratulations to them. And like I said, we'll find a time at our faculty meetings to recognize them, and they'll receive their plaques as well and all that too. So sorry about that. But thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate that.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, and congratulations. Yeah.
All right. That brings us to board member items. We did just approve the audit committee. We do have a meeting next week for the week after. So Sue, Cindy, and myself will be on that. We are going to, I think I sent out a text that just to let me know if anybody wants to have any changes to the committees that they're standing on now. If not, you can just roll it over. Go ahead, talk to me, anything.
That sounds great, Sheila.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi.
Thank you, thank you. All right, all right. All right, so if everybody's still good on theirs? Then if I mentioned when you were sitting down, the disclosure statements, if you have any questions on those, ask Shireen. If not, she does need them signed and back tonight. We put board retreat on here because we talked in our agenda meeting. I'm just going to throw this out there. I know I personally enjoy the board retreat every year. I really do. I think we get a lot done. I know last year Kathy Weichman was here and she did a fantastic job. I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth. I'm just throwing this out there. Chris and his team here have a ton on their plate. I know he said that the administrators are meeting a couple of days. We had said, I don't think we need or I don't think Kathy Wegman is what we need this year. That's my own words. And we don't have to make this decision tonight, but I just wanted to throw it out there of not having one right now because Chris does have so much on his plate. If we don't have Kathy Wegman, it would probably be Chris and I coming up with an agenda. Again, I think they're totally worthwhile. I'm not saying I don't. I just think he's got a ton on his plate right now. And if maybe he even wanted to push it into December or even next year or whatever, I just want to throw that out there. My words, not
I think when the
his.
time is right.
Exactly. That's kind of played into it. And I just know he's got a ton on his plate and
And I'll keep you informed. I think the biggest thing is going to be the reopening and how that's, all that stuff, all the nuts and bolts of that. So you'll be getting a retreat's worth of information, like in the coming weeks, just little chunks at a time. Yeah. Yeah.
And if anybody feels that they need more information on the opening, we could have an extra meeting as well. If somebody,
That might be helpful.
yeah,
Mhm.
But again,
Yeah.
see in our
it's
August
good at getting
meeting.
information out.
Exactly.
And then maybe this time with all your.
Yeah. And maybe, obviously at the August meeting, you're gonna be telling us a ton about the
Oh, yeah.
reopening, so I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouth because I really do feel it's valuable, but think about it. If anybody has any other feedback, just let me know because again, we could have it in August. All right. Is there any, are there any other board member items? Anything? What's going on out there? Oh.
And they talked about getting speakers, but they talked a lot about holding a lot of meetings virtually. Not only because of the COVID, but because more people did it.
Mhm.
I think that's a good idea. Did you raise your hand, Phyllis?
No, when was, I wasn't there.
Yes, you did.
I get
Uh-oh.
elected now.
I think they have.
Marcus Woodman is well represented on Work County, I think. I think he has good attendance and I don't know, is the legislative, I mean, they've been doing it via Zoom, yes?
The last 2 years.
Yeah.
But I usually, the main portion of our work usually goes from September, October until February. When we put out those papers, they go Albany. But we have had a couple since then because of the but they do virtually, save us all driving over to York.
Yep.
Or buying a car.
They talked about that doing a lot of meetings. And they were talking about the audit meeting, they're looking for a
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah. she needed a volunteer. And I don't know, did something go to everybody from NISBA about the convention? The questionnaire? I got a questionnaire.
I didn't see it, but they did talk.
Yeah, they were sending out a survey to ask if you would attend. It's in New York City this year. I don't see how they're gonna be able to have it. It's October. Oh, yeah.
yeah, no.
But they haven't come out and said they're not going. But I just thought that was just interesting. Yeah, so. stay tuned. All right, anything else on that?
I brought produce.
From the Hall Garden?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so do we need to break for a minute for executive session? Yes, we can break. Yeah. And I think we have to break off from Zoom.
Yeah,
now, or-
yeah.
okay.
Now Brenda
All
can
right,
help
we're
us.
gonna take a 5-minute
Yep.
break and then we'll come back for executive session.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Lauren, thanks for coming.
Thank you, yes. Oh, I have a lot of
Mr. Lee.